assessments, right? There are number of assessments are there, and you are assessing students through them. And so when we talk about multiple assessments, see, there is no bar or there is no particular way that this is only thing that you can take under multiple assessment. Okay, you can curate, you can create anything that you think that goes in hand with the kind of the core competencies and the subject and the topic which we do. Beyond that, the what is most important thing is that you need to have the criteria, you need to have the assessment tool, you also have to have the rubrics for how and what you will go. Okay, and as ma'am had rightly pointed, multiple assessments are the one where you are not using pen and paper. Okay, it's not pen and paper test. You are going to assess students based on various skills, various tools, and you go ahead with this thing. Okay, why are we talking about this? Because we are speaking since morning and you have been listening it. You have been great learners. So you have throughout your time, you have always learned about the NEP 2020 and all the education policies. Okay, and they all spoke about the shift from rote memorization. Okay, and again we go back to this, that we are trying to incorporate multiple assessments because we want the students, the kind of learners that we have, we want to assess them using various skills, various competencies and various ways so that we cater to all the kinds of learners that we have. Okay, and so when we talk about, see, these are number of things. These are just few suggested. Okay, you have the liberty to add number of things that go as per your subject. Okay, again I would say that some of the things that are mentioned here can go again for the subject enrichment because they overlap. Okay, for example, when it comes up to the subject in languages, then for languages, activities in speaking and listening plays an important part of the subject enrichment. So the same activity can be a part of multiple assessment also, as well as the part of the subject enrichment. That's why I said it can overlap. Okay, so the things that you find here, out of that certain things can be even taken up for the subject enrichment. So here if you see that you can use the concept maps, we know very well, right? Social science, they always use concept maps. We also ask the students, so whenever you are completing any particular topic, you can always develop these type of things. You can make students create these. Then also seminars, presentations, so many. See, this side again, quiz are there. Then the brainstorming sessions, you introduce some topic and then you generate it in the classroom, a kind of atmosphere. You give them a triggering thought and let the groups think about it, let them come out with the solution, let them give you the kind of the the inputs for this, and let them come this side and share it. So these type of things can become a part of multiple assessments. But what is most important is it can be any kind of activity, multiple assessments, or even when it comes up to subject enrichment, or maybe in the art integrated whatever. The most important is the process and the product. So even if you are taking up the kind of seminars or debate, or even it is a group activity, as a teacher, as a facilitator, you would be observing them, you would be also watching at them with all the thorough part, that how they are interacting with each other, how the discussion is carried out, who is noting down the points, which points are being given by the child, how they are discussing, are they respecting each other's opinions, okay, is there a common opinion that is formed after the discussion. So all this becomes a part of the process. So when it comes up to your assessment, that time you would be also putting up this as a part of your rubric, that how this was carried out. Why this is essential? Because at the same time when we inform this, we will be telling students that you have to also keep in mind the way you started the discussion, how it was carried ahead, and then how they presented it finally to the class. If they note it down, it will help them to go ahead for the reflections. Okay? Because there are so many, for example, if it is an activity of speaking or listening skill, or where they are presenting something, so how will that be documented? That is most important, because for us documentation is essential part. Okay, any activity we take, we need to have the documentation, we need to have the evidence, right? CBSE keeps talking about the evidence. For everything, evidence is essential. So what is the evidence? So obviously, if they write the reflection, that how did they begin, how they carried it, and how the end product is. So if the children write it, they keep this reflection in their portfolio. And it is their learning, because at the end of it, see, there are a number of ways to create the reflection sheet. Certain are rolled out by CBSE also as a guideline to us. You can take a reference of these. And when we'll go back to the part of HP, there also I'll present it to you that how in HP they have given the reflections. So you can take and modify those reflections, reflection pointers, and you can create it for your class or your subject. So even exit cards play an important role. So there are very simple. Exit cards are never in brief, meaning lengthy ones. They must be able to complete this part within 2 to 3 minutes. Okay? And you should be very, very specific and particular when you create these kind of exit cards. So as it says, see, one is entry card and one is exit. So for a simple example, like you gave one pre-test, right? Before the session. And after the session, you are going to write the post-test. So it's the same. So entry card is where that before you start any particular topic, you are going to get the information, okay, that from where I have to pick up, where I have to start. And then you go ahead. An exit card is the same, or meaning exit card is the one where you are going to find out that whatever you wanted, whether the children have reached up to that level. Okay? Were you successful in delivering that particular content? Has a child understood? Is child able to apply it and create something? Okay? So this is how the exit cards also play an important as a part of assessment. You can ask them to write it, and also exit cards will become a part of your portfolios. Okay? So see, this again becomes a documentation how you will take it. As a multiple assessment, when you are taken, again you go back and you are putting that document in the portfolios. So we know this listening task and all these like projects, role plays, model making, debates. So these type of things we always will be taking up. And see, as I told, this is just few examples. Okay? If you will sit and start noting down the number of things that you can take up for your subject, the list goes beyond 50 topics. Okay, based on your the kind of the content that you have for your subject. So when we talk about the multiple assessments, we need to remember very, very essential and important part that, as I told, every activity must have your parameters. Okay, it must have the kind of the assessment tool, meaning only you need to write what are you going to assess through that activity, how it is mapped with your content, and how it is going to be as a way of assessment, what competencies are you going to assess. Then you also have to write the rubrics. Okay, and I also want to tell that, say, creating rubrics, yes, it is little tedious job. Okay, but if you will find out the curriculum booklet, curriculum pages, initial pages, as well as the particular subject wise pages, then you would find that for listening and speaking tasks, they have given you all rubrics. Similarly, for social science projects, the rubrics are given, and how you are going to assess, every detail is given. That if it is transdisciplinary or multidisciplinary project, what will be the rubrics? These details are given, you can pick it up from there. Beyond that, CBSE had rolled out a booklet which was for the teachers, okay, handbook for teachers. This is the name of the handbook. And if you will go through that, this contains everything that any CBSE teacher is supposed to know and understand, starting from the code of conduct to the rules and regulations and the kinds of the laws that every teacher should know. And beyond that, it has given you the rubrics for every task. Okay, so you can refer to this booklet to, if you are short of finding out any rubrics, you can refer to this and you can get it. Then again, ma'am had mentioned to you about the CCE. So 2010, when the CCE was rolled out, so that time CCE handbook is there. I know that it is long back that CBSE spoke about, but it's a beautiful document. Okay, and this document, if I'm not wrong, page number 75, 70 is around somewhere. They have given you the rubrics for every task, because CCE used to talk about, the orals and the project work and everything. So they have given the rubrics in detail there. So you can pick it up something from there as well and have the rubrics for your multiple assessments. And then again, the third point is very essential. That, see, it is not for only you who is the authority of the class, right? So it's now the shift is there. We don't call ourselves only as we are, the word terminologies are changing, right? We are only the facilitators. You only have to show the path and students go ahead with that. And so since we are the facilitators, it is not we as the authority who will decide everything. So students also should know how they are being assessed. So before I take up any activity or before I am supposed to conduct it, I must inform them in advance that if I am taking speaking activity or listening task, then what is to be done, how it will be done, and also how they will be assessed. Okay, and again, it should be discussed and decided with the consensus, meaning they also should have a voice. Okay, see, as we prepare the classroom rules, right, we take the help of the students. We ask them only that you suggest what should be the rule for the class. So once it comes up from them, definitely they know, okay, I need to follow. So similarly, it is together. Okay, so you inform the students, you make them understand, and then you go ahead with that. Right? And so once assessed, how you are going to document it, that's the way. Okay, so record of assessment, you will keep every detail and also the rubrics. That's why you can prepare a sheet that rubrics are written on the top, and then you are giving, allotting them the mark. If imagine you have 5 rubrics, 1, 1, 1 or 2, 2 in this manner. But the rubrics with that the sheet has to be there. It becomes a part of evidence. And then this type of report the students write, as I was telling you, that they can write a reflection. Okay. So either the group report, since if it is a group activity or you are conducted individual activity, depending on that, they prepare like this, where they have written every detail of the objective, how they went ahead with the preparations, what participation. Now see, this report is at 2 levels. One is at the teacher's level, one is at the student's level. Okay. So as a teacher, when I conduct an activity, so it's an entire cycle, right? That when I conduct an activity, I do it with a particular aim. I keep a particular learning outcome in my mind and I go ahead with that tool. And when I go ahead with that tool, after that, I assess them and I again reflect that whatever activity I completed or I conducted, was it appropriate? Did it get the success? Okay. Meaning the aim with which I tried to conduct it, was it successful? Could I reach to the same level to the students? Did they follow it? So all this becomes a part of reflection at my end, at the same time reflection at the students level. Okay, and that's why when it is talking to you about report of activity, report at my level, and students also write their reflection through this. And then see, the essential assessment evidence is that you can have the record of assessment, okay, the sheets and all the whatever the written documentation is there, and the rubrics. But beyond that, you can have the photographs or the small video clips. Okay, see, small video clips of the 59 seconds, 1 minute. They are the smaller ones. You can upload it on Drive and also small clips for that. And the project files, PPTs, okay, models, charts, all this. Sometimes it becomes keeping the models also is a difficult task. So, a video clip where they are narrating something about the model, photographs, all these become the part of the evidence. You should save it properly and then put it onto the Drive. And for how many months? How many months to preserve these all data? Any particular duration? Yes, ma'am. 2 years? How many months? I asked months. Years? Okay, 2 years. Anything else? See, CBSE says, okay, that after the declaration of result, okay, from that date, 3 months. Once the result is declared, from that date, 3 months, you will preserve everything. And if there is any, under the right to information, okay, if somebody has demanded something, or maybe the child has applied for revaluation, or any other kind of the tool for maybe the verifications and everything. So in such cases, that data is preserved till the result is out, meaning of that case. Otherwise, for any particular academic year, 3 months is the duration that we preserve everything, and after that, the exam cell takes care of how to discard and how to go ahead with that. But this is the duration. But as a soft copy, you always preserve and you submit it, right? Okay, and as we are talking about the multiple assessments, okay, and as a part of your NABET assessments, you talk about the multiple intelligences, you talk about the work, right? What is it? What are multiple intelligences? I'd be really happy if somebody could throw light on this. Yes, ma'am. It's fine. Okay. So, yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. So, if you know that multiple intelligences, how many types? How many types of the intelligences we find? 8 or 9? Okay. So, these learners, okay, as we always say, we have varied learners in our classroom, right? All the students don't learn in the same fashion. See, right now also when we are sitting here in this auditorium, so somebody would be noting down, somebody won't write anything. They would just look at the screen, somebody would try to listen, somebody may not follow unless and until something is presented. So right, we all also, so as a child or as a elder or grown up also, we have our own learning styles. And so, we talk about these styles and how we are going to cater to these learners. Okay, so if I am conducting any activity or there is a particular topic, so how am I going to cater to all these learners in my classroom and see that they are being engaged, because at the very moment my activity or my content is not entertaining or not appealing to the child, right? The attention is lost. And so, to make it so, we need to find out how am I going to cater to these learners. So, some of the learners, as it is mentioned, that they are visual learners, some are auditory learners, some are read and write, right? And some are kinesthetic learners. So I just quickly give it ahead and we'll move because we still have less time. We have very less time with us, right? See, I have just picked up one example from environmental science. That is environmental conservation, a very common topic, so that everybody is able to go ahead with that. So if we have to cater to this same topic, and there are number of learners, kinds of learners that we have. Ma'am mentioned 4 to 5 to us, right? So we'll see how we can cater to these learners. So the linguistic learners who are the kind of outspoken ones. So for them, and then see who are good at languages. So for them, write an essay or poem about the importance of environmental conservation, right? Because they are the people who are linguistic. And so, they are the people who can express themselves through writing. They can express through the languages. So, this is how you can give. So, see, same topic, how we are going to take it ahead. So, when we go ahead, logical, mathematical intelligence. So, if I have the students who are good at this terminology, good at this skill, that is logical, they can think logically, they are good at mathematical part, then I can have an activity for them where they can analyze the data on deforestation rates and calculate the impact on carbon dioxide levels. See. So same topic, now these learners. So you can identify the kinds of learners you have in your class. You can group them and give these different tasks to them. See, multiple assessment, right? It's a multiple assessment, but at the same time, you cater to all the learners. You are taking care of all the learners here. And so, see, they use reasoning and mathematical skills because they are good at that. And so, their skill is justified. See, these special learners, poster or infographic that visually explains the effects of pollution on marine life. See, they are very good at visuals and even placing the things. And so, they can talk about these. Then bodily kinesthetic. Okay. So for them, participate in a local cleanup because they need activity. Bodily kinesthetic are the one who love, physical activity. And so for them, if you want to keep them engaged, so participate in a local cleanup drive or tree plantation. So one group, you engage there. Others are engaged in other activities. Okay? And so, engage them physically to make them this kind of contribution. So your purpose is served. See, musical intelligence, right? So if we have these children in our class, so you can ask them to compose a song or rap, which is much in the vogue right now. So about recycling and its benefits. Okay? So they use their musical skills. They can take help of the music teacher also, right? And they can definitely perform. So the students who are interpersonal, okay, organize a group. They are interpersonal ones are there who can, who can outspoken. They can, as a part of the team, they can participate. They are confident ones. So they can come out and be with this discussion or debate on policies for environmental conservation, right? So it develops the teamwork and communication skills because they are interpersonal ones. Intrapersonals, I hope you know the difference between interpersonal and intrapersonal, right? So reflect on personal habits. So they are not outspoken. So they can write down about their own personal habits and develop a plan to reduce your environmental footprint. See, so they are also taken care of. So fosters self-awareness and personal responsibility. Then naturalistics, conduct a nature walk, always a beautiful activity, to observe local ecosystem and identify plant and animal species. So enhances understanding and appreciation of nature through direct interactions. And as you talk about WAC when you are dealing with the NABIT, so I have just tried to pick it up, this example for you. Okay? See, for visual learners, you can have an activity, watch a documentary on environmental conservation and create a mind map of key concepts because they are the one who are good at visual skills. Then auditory, listen to a podcast or a guest speaker discussing climate changes and its impacts. And this read and write, right? The third component of the work. So for read and write, read articles and books on environmental issues and write a summary or report. So whatever the knowledge they have gained through reading, they reflect. Kinesthetic ones, conduct experiments to demonstrate the effects of pollution, such as creating a mini ecosystem in a bottle or this way or in a corner anywhere. So that's how all these learners are taken care of. Make sense? I hope you are with this understanding. Fine? Multiple intelligences and multiple assessment. Little light on the part that portfolios are the assessment as learning. So when we talk about it's a systematic collection of, because it's not something that you keep random things in the portfolio. There is a way for keeping it, like it can be like the part of the index, then subject wise headings are made, and the subject wise all the things are kept, even the HP, art, and beyond that you maintain the reflections of it. And there is one which is the kind of the anything and everything that a child wants to keep in this. What do I mean by anything and everything? That is, if a child has got a certificate, okay, in the science olympiad or any other competitive examination, which is the kind of the competitive exam where they have performed well or shown their extraordinary skills, and that all can be kept as a part of portfolio. So that is not a mandatory, that goes as the optional. Okay, but there is a list which has been already suggested to us. Okay, CBSE says about that these are certain things are must and certain things may go. Okay, you have the liberty then to keep adding. Okay, and when you talk about this, see notebooks, when you talk about, so initially up to 2020 we had the marks for notebooks also. After that we are not awarding marks for the notebooks. Okay, so notebooks have become a part of our portfolios. Of course we are awarding, but under the title of portfolios. So when it comes up to notebooks, once we complete the corrections and all, whatever the index is, so in index obviously we are writing the date when the child has submitted everything, when you put up the signatures. Beyond that, where children also write the date, that particular time when this assignment was given to them. So that copy of the index becomes a part of your portfolio, and you whatever the marks you are awarding. Okay, so that if a child is putting up that index, it can be photocopied and it can be kept as a part of the assessments here. Then any work, okay, that the teachers have decided. So for example, if I conduct 20 activities, which is a very impossible task, but imagine I am a teacher, I have conducted 20 activities. So 20 on 20 is a very difficult task, because I am not the only teacher, right? There are a number of teachers who are conducting these activities. So many subject teachers are conducting. So it will become a bulky file for the child, right? And preserving the file also is a very tedious job for us. So if we decide that okay, out of these 20, 5 activities we are going to preserve, keep in the portfolio, right? So you can have a common decision, or maybe subject heads, or with the discussions of the co-teachers and all, that lies how the authorities take it ahead. So if you decide, then those many details go under the portfolios, because maintaining the record of everything and putting up everything in the file is also a difficult task. And that's why it says any work that the teacher and the student agreed upon. Okay, so that discussion is always there. And remember, since it is as learning, it's not only the teacher taking decision, right? And then may, already I told you, any document that they want to go ahead with. So that's very simple about the portfolios. And then we go ahead to the understanding of subject enrichment, right? Are we thorough with the part of the portfolios? Yes. Okay. So we did with the periodic test, multiple assessments, and the portfolio. We are right now to the 4th component, that is the subject enrichments. So as the title suggests, subject enrichment, right? Enrichment, enhancement. So whatever the child has learned, the competencies, something that is, some activity that is going to enhance the level of or understanding, or it is going to take it ahead, okay, from one level to another. So all these activities become a part of subject enrichment. So now when this component is given, CBSE has given us the list of the things that will go as a part of subject subject enrichment. For example, for languages, it said the activities in speaking and listening. Right? Then for mathematics, what is it? Lab activities, right? They have lab manuals are there, mathematics lab activities are there, and for science, practicals are there, right? Practical booklets are there. So all this becomes a part of the subject enrichment for them. And for social science, again you have the multidisciplinary projects are given. You have been given dedicated topic for that. Especially for class 9 and 10, they have given the dedicated topic. What is it for 9? Any topic for 9? Yes. So that is the interdisciplinary project and also disaster management, right? So disaster management also is an essential part of it. And then for class 10 again the dedicated topics are there. So you can check it with the part of the curriculum and they have given everything in brief to you. Okay, you have to just refer to it. They have given how many periods you are going to dedicate. 10 periods they have written for IDP. Okay, so you can check it and you can just plan your activities accordingly and go ahead with that. So if you are conducting subject enrichment activities or even the multidisciplinary or any project or even the multiple assessments, what should be the duration? When do you start? When do you end up these activities? Or do you continue till the end? Usually, see, when it comes up to class 10 and 12, so ideally your all these internal assessments should get over by November max to max, right? Because by the time you will gather the data, you will complete the all your assessments and you prepare a final sheet. Because in Jan you have to upload the marks, right, of the internal assessments. And then you roll out the along with the Kala Setu then portal, you go ahead and you are downloading the their all the cards also, hall tickets. So by that time your data has to be ready. So any activity whenever you are conducting, you have to also see the time limit, right? The time bound. How many days you are going to cater to that. So whenever you make a plan, that how many days, how many months you are going to dedicate. That also becomes an essential part. So when you are talking about subject enrichment, same has been given to you. In your curriculum, it has been mentioned. So as we go ahead, sorry to bother that end. Sir, I would be happy if you can just go back to the folder. Just a minute. Circulars art, that folder please. First one, sir, not this. A top one, yeah. Thank you. In that, see, I'm not opening all these circulars, but please remember that 14th May, okay, 2020 is an important date. Okay, this was the date when CBSE rolled out a circular which was about art integration. Okay, art integrated project as a part of subject enrichment. And please remember that this became an important movement for us because this spoke about certain things, certain guidelines for us. It is almost, the circular is of 22 pages. Okay, and after that, they did not change anything. So I request you to open the 54 circular 2023, please. Circular number 54, 2023. Can you just, if you make it 125 or some, would be better. I just, yes, thank you, sir. So when this first time they rolled out, okay, that time it largely spoke to us. Remember, NEP 2020, when we say, it has come when we have started practicing already. Okay, people keep asking about that when NEP will be implemented. But CBSE has started implementing it long back. Maybe since 2020 and 2019 onwards only, strengthening assessment practices they have started. They have started with this practice of the curating and also cultivating the Indian ethos, and made it a mandatory thing for us that we have an activity which goes as a part of the Indian ethos and talk about the art integration. We study the culture, traditions, and the art forms of a particular land. Okay, and so under this program, they gave us number of states that are there in our country, and they were paired, right? From 2020 to last year, okay, we were paired with Odisha, right? So why this pairing was done? Then are all country parts and then other. We talk about other countries, but we forget about our own country. We don't even know our own culture, our own country, various things that are there, folklore. And so this kind of opportunity is given by CBSE to understand this. Can I take this? I'll just see if you remember, I spoke to you about the steps that you can follow. So when you are using even the art integration projects, you are supposed to follow these things. You can take the reference of this and go ahead. I request that you can read through this. It has given you every detail. Okay, they have given you the pairing states here. And please remember that whenever you will take up any of the activity as a subject enrichment activity, as class 9 and 10, they do the individual subject wise activities, right? That art integration project that they do as a part of subject enrichment, that time every subject individual activity is there for 9 and 10, but it is expected that at least in one of the subject they need to have the art integration with the pairing state. So if it is not possible in English, at least in other subject it should be done. But we must make sure that it is paired at least in one subject. Okay? But when it comes up to the classes 1 to 8, that time they don't have individual subject wise projects, but it becomes a multidisciplinary. So throughout the all subjects, one project is picked up which goes throughout all the subjects, and that is been carried out. Okay, and when you will see the 11th and 12th standard, again the different guidelines are given. Okay, for 11th and 12th it is art integration. Okay, and then 12th also it goes the same way. So these numbers, why I asked you to remember that whenever you will note down, you already are doing it, but whenever you are undertaking, you can always refer to this and identify the activities from these lists. Because those people who upload the data on Kala Setu is the portal where we are supposed to upload all this in the month of Jan. Okay. HPE becomes an essential part as HPE becomes the gateway for submitting your LOC and class 9 registration, because unless and until you do HPE data, you cannot go ahead for dealing with the data of the LOC. Okay, it becomes essential. And then unless and until you upload the art integrated projects data, you cannot generate the hall tickets of class 10. So one is at the entry, one is at the last point, right? So these art integrated projects and HPE play an essential role. So these pointers are essential because whenever you identify, you have to identify from this list that which one is going ahead with my subject and the topic that I have selected, and these numbers you have to note down. Ideally, it should have a plan of action where you are writing up all the details, that when did the activity start, or when, how many days you are going to go ahead with this activity, and then also start date and end date, because this becomes an essential data whenever you are uploading it on the portal. It's a huge list, you can always check it, and it is also given that for which subjects you can pick it up these activities. This is what I just want. Whenever you get time, please go through this annexure. It has given you that whenever you plan, you also prepare a draft in this format, that when this activity started, when did it start, see project beginning date, the project end date, total number of students. So you need to have this data. Once you submit and the people call you and ask you for this data beforehand, with this information you can create your data and then prepare it. It's not responding.
It's finished, ma'am. It's the last page.
Fine. You can go back to the slide, please. There is also a video. I'm not playing it right now, but we can share it with ma'am, and in turn you can always find it out. You can Google it out. That there are, when we talk about Maharashtra paired with Sikkim, that what type of activities you can pick it up as a part of pairing state. Okay, that what things can be compared, how what kind of projects you can give to students, that Maharashtra's Lavani and their folk dance, or our landscapes and the that region's landscape, how you can have the documentation, how can you give these type of projects. So these type of details are given, you can also find out, and definitely this can become a beautiful project. So already we have seen, okay. Do I have 5 minutes or no time? 10 minutes? Okay. I would just say that whenever you get time, kindly go through these booklets. Okay, as I already informed you, this site, learning outcomes mapped with assessment. Okay, these were rolled out to you. These teachers energized resources from classes 6 to 10. Okay, for science and mathematics, with every chapter, with the solution, with the learning outcome, with the lesson plan, with everything is given here. And this was rolled out in 2020. And then this teachers' resources is 1060 pages, this booklet. So there, for every subject from class 1 to 10, learning outcomes, learning pedagogies, then the everything, that what type of activities, what type of assessment you will go ahead with, these things are given to you there. You can always take a reference of it. So I will not go through this. again, as I informed, CBE, you can go back and check through the CBE portal. Okay, we have only 5 to 10 minutes, so I'll rush to this part. So when we talk about CBE, remember that 2020, when the curriculum was rolled out and the strengthening assessments, okay, were introduced to 9th April is a date. After that, when they introduced everything, so this date was something very important when almost 6 to 8 circulars were rolled out by CBSE, and then that time they rolled out the document where they spoke about competencies. They spoke about competency-based questions to be part of your question paper and your teaching learning process. And so, ahead of this line, they have introduced number of things. I'm just quickly presenting. You can go back and see. This is one example. This example is from the class 6, chapter 1, NCERT textbook. Okay, so see these type of questions where they are applying the knowledge that they have learnt, they are using their skills, they are also trying to analyze, and then they infer the data. So all this becomes the part of competency based assessment. Okay, and they are mapped with the things, because whenever if I write this question, so see, this is how it becomes. Okay, you skip all the other things, but remember that it talks to you about the competency, which concept and which competency am I going to assess through this, and what is the type of question that, is it a closed one, is it the kind of assessment one, what assessment. So whenever you pick it up, that's why in the morning said CBSE has rolled out, given you each booklet has 300 to 400 questions. Only we have to identify. One I had picked up from class 9 English. So this is the passage that is there about the sound of music. Okay. Even if you don't know, you can always just, it's a smaller one, so I just picked it up. And then based on this type of questions are given. I'm not going again into detail because 5 minutes in my hand. So it gives you that what type of competency is tested here. Okay? And then see, what is it? Last one is multiple choice. So you also write about item, that what is assessed through this. Okay, what type of question. So competency based, it's not something that you pick it up, but also you need to have the detailing of it. See, this is one very simple for class 3. Very simple. Okay, that you can always find. It is dealing with, see, mathematics. It is also dealing with English. Right? Because prepositions and all are taken care in this manner. So this is competency based question for class 3. Quickly I'll roll out. You can have a look. Already we know the cartoon based questions are there in social science. So this type of question. This is competency based. That what are they demanding? They can be seen begging something, right? But what are they demanding there? And who is the power to give? Who is the authority to give? Who gives? Supreme Court, central government. Who is the one, the authority?
Central government.
Central government. So quickly, to remember about CBE, that whenever you talk about competency based questions, then it talks about, the subject specific ones and more about, higher order thinking and the fundamental skills, real world examples, and a lot of diagrams, images, and where the children have scope for interpreting and analyzing and then finding out the answer. See more of the diagrams. Okay, structured questions. Use language which is accessible, not difficult one. Simple language. Can I speak for another 2 minutes or is the time over? Okay. Okay, 2 minutes. All right. Sir,
Yes, ma'am.
can we go back to the part of the PDFs and the folder? Yes. I request you to open quickly the folder where it is HPE is written. Sir, curriculum folder, sir. Curriculum. Third one, curriculum. Yes, HPE is there. Third one, please. Though it talks about HPE, okay, Core Scholastic, as we know, initially we used to talk about HPE, work education and art education, okay, but work education is subdued in the part of the HPE only, meaning now it has become a part of HPE. And though it talks about only HPE, does not mean that only HPE people are, meaning the PE teachers are supposed to deal with. It becomes essential part that every teacher, every subject teacher is a part of this group, meaning these activities. Okay, and why I'm presenting this, because this has given you beautiful documentation, and every teacher can utilize some or other part of this, because they have given you promise card, which any teacher, when you are conducting your activity for English, social science, any subject, you can make the child fill it up. Okay, if it is an activity where you are inculcating some value, you can make the child write it. You can use it. Beyond that, it has got the reflections. They have given you beautiful formats, so you can just incorporate them in your subjects. Yeah, I'll show you. And so, HPE teachers are well aware of this ideally. So I'm not going into background, but when it comes up to HPE,